Hello. Just doing a quick sound check. Are you all able to hear me okay? Hey, Marie. Okay, great. Well, good afternoon and welcome. We're in the year 2022 already. Oh my gosh. Um, and our topic, of course, we're in your Money Smart series. And our topic today is building your financial future. And give you guys a couple more minutes just to get in, uh, see who else may show up, and then we'll get started. I think I mentioned before, I really hate to punish those who are on time, but we don't want those who are right in the middle and on their way to miss out on too much. So just a couple more minutes. I hope that everyone had a great ending to 2021. I know it's been a crazy time. Um, some of the names I recognize and some I don't, but hopefully, in any case, all of you will take away something that will be beneficial, if not a reminder that you've already been doing well with your finances. And this will encourage you to share with others what you're already doing right, or buddy up and do it right together. Who knows? All right, one more minute and we'll go ahead and get started. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Doo-doo-doo-doo. All right, I don't want to prolong the hour, so we'll go ahead and get started. From our Money Smart series, which is brought to us by the FDIC, um, we're working from their Money Smart series, and our title today is Building Your Financial Future. And at the end of this presentation, I'll happily email the associated files with this presentation for anyone who is interested. Having a little technical difficulty, but we're going to get through it, right? So just a little bit about your presenter. My name is Aretha Franklin, and all of those letters behind my name just mean I've been working on myself and my ability to present this information with some legitimate background. I've been a member of the United Way of Northeast Florida nonprofit team since the year 2009. I began serving in the financial literacy arena in 2012 and earned the master level certification in financial capabilities. That's what the CMP FinCap means. My passion for providing financial literacy to members of our community stems from a desire to see others succeed financially. And it also comes from actually having had to learn what I've been teaching. So it's not just head knowledge. This is actual information that I've had to put into practice. And because it has worked for me, I do believe it will work for others. So the first session under our topic, Building Your Financial Future, is just understanding assets and asset building. Our key takeaway in this particular session is that assets can lead to wealth and financial security. So what is an asset? Of course, it is something that you own that has value. There are three types of assets: physical, financial, and productive. Their value is determined based on the type of asset. So of course, the physical being a house or a car, financial being stocks, bonds, savings, and productive is what you're able to bring to the table with regard to your experience and your abilities to create. So the benefits of asset building, financial security, being income and assets, the foundation for your financial future, and the essential to achieving long-term financial stability and growing wealth. I like that foundation for your financial future, because anything that you're able to produce that can in turn produce income for you will help you to build and expand your financial future. Owning assets helps you to create a buffer to handle emergencies. The water heater goes out on the house, in the house, and you don't have money that you can liquidate, or anything that you can grab hold of immediately. You can liquidate assets by perhaps using the equity in your home to not just replace that hot water heater, but other things that you may want to take care of. It helps you to reach your goals. It increases any options that you may have. It helps you to earn more income. It inspires you to look to the future, and it reduces stress. I can't say enough that whenever an emergency comes about, you will certainly sleep a lot better knowing that you've had your resources in place and intact and ready to handle the emergency. Not every emergency is major, but it becomes a major thing to deal with if you don't have the resources in place to do so. So your key takeaway is that assets can lead to wealth and financial security. Don't fail me now, technology. All right, we're stuck a little bit right here. This has been going on for the morning, so I want to ask you all to be patient with me. We made it. All right, section 2, how assets create a financial foundation. And I think I kind of touched on that a little bit, just knowing that if you have some assets and a situation comes about, you're able to reassign some of those assets. So your key takeaway is net worth is a good measure of your financial stability. Calculate your net worth by subtracting your liabilities, which is money you owe others, from the assets or things that you own that produce income for you. Assets, again, something you own that has value, but a new definition, liability, something that you owe others, which is usually money. And then equity, the value of an asset minus the liability related to that asset. Equity equals value of asset minus the related liability. What is the net worth? Your measure of financial wealth equals your assets minus liability, and it also equals equity from all other assets that you owe that are added together. So net worth equals assets minus liabilities. What is the value of net worth? Positive net worth equals a financial cushion. Zero or negative net worth equals no financial cushion. And I don't know about you, but any seat that I've ever planted my bottom in feels a lot better when it's got great cushion, right? And so when you talk about net worth, having a financial cushion always makes you a little bit more comfortable in life, though we never know how long or how deep that cushion is. How long will it last and how deep that cushion is can depend on the very next emergency or the very next need that you have. But when you start out with a financial cushion, it does make it a little bit easier to approach how you handle those emergencies. So calculating your net worth, the first step is listing your assets and then calculating what those total assets are. Simple addition, right? Step 2, listing your liabilities and calculating what those totals are. And again, that's simple addition. Now, step 3, you have to calculate your total assets and subtract the liabilities from them. So let's skip that one. Let's talk about changing your net worth. Increase your assets or decrease your liabilities. And if you're able, you can do both. So what are some specific ways people can increase their net worth? Some would say take a second job. If you're in the real estate market and you know how to purchase and flip houses, building your assets that way. Decreasing your liabilities is simply, in some instances, just looking at where you're spending your money now, finding out what the spending leaks in your income are, find out where you can cut back on some of the things that you're spending your monies on, and then determining what is a value that you might be able to just eliminate altogether. So those are ways that you can decrease your liabilities, or again, as it says, you can do both. Now in this day and time of a full-time or even a part-time job and a gig economy, there's many ways that you can increase your assets. How do you increase your net worth? Spend less than you make, buy less than you can afford, save money, use your employer programs, use debt responsibly, pay down your debts, explore public benefits, claim tax credits, shop around, and build more assets. I like the one that says use employer programs. If you work for an employer that offers a 401k, or if you're a nonprofit and it's 403b, never leave any money on the table. If they're willing to allow you to save in a retirement account, and they are willing to match either 50 cents on the dollar or dollar for dollar up to a certain income amount, percentage-wise, go for it. To me, it's easier to go for the max in the saving of your for your retirement fund when you know the dollars are being matched than it is to work the job for as long as you can and then walk away and not really have anything to fall back on. But that's my personal opinion. My employer matches up to 6%. So because I don't have that money in my hand, I really don't miss it, but I know that it's adding a cushion for my retirement or my future years should I leave my employer before I retire. Another thing that I want to bring to your attention is claiming tax credits. We know that since the COVID pandemic started, there have been many different credits that have come available to taxpayers. So you want to make sure that you claim any tax credits that you are eligible for. And one benefit that United Way of Northeast Florida through the VITA program and RealSense offers is free tax preparation. You definitely want to take advantage of that and even learn more about tax credits such as the Earned Income Tax Credit and the Child Tax Credit. And I'll provide a little bit more information on that momentarily. So again, section 2, remember the key takeaway. Your net worth is a good measure of your financial stability. Calculate your net worth by subtracting your liabilities. Again, that's the money you owe others from your assets. Section 3 talks about cars as assets. I want to share really quickly, I'm on one screen today. I think the last few times I was in your presence, I had a couple screens. So I'm not sure if we can throw up any signals, Corinne, if I am over time or if anything needs to adjust, but please let me know, okay? Section 3, cars as assets. Your key takeaway here is a car can be a productive asset when it helps you to get other assets. Plan ahead to get a car you can afford with as little debt as possible. I think that's self-explanatory, but we're going to see how much more in depth this section takes us. I'm sorry, I'm getting my words twisted. Cars can be productive assets. Safe and reliable transportation is part of your financial security. When you know that that is your sole transportation to work, there's financial security in knowing that you've done your oil changes, tune-ups, everything that keeps it mechanically running and functioning, so that when it's time to go to work, you don't have to go out and hope and pray that it will start or look for an alternative route to work. This is just a little funny story that reminds me how important or valuable a great running car can be. I was on my way to a job interview. And I was so excited about it. It was promising and had great potential for my financial security. But somewhere along 95, just between the two university exits, the car died. And of course, I did not make it in time for the interview. But by favor, I was able to still get that particular job. And so, but it really was a hassle trying to get her to understand first and believe second that this stranger who wants the job that she was offering couldn't get there because of transportation. So you want to make sure that your transportation is safe and reliable. Also, because cars can be productive assets, they may increase your choice of jobs, also access to medical services, education, childcare, or even elder care. So does owning a car always make you better off financially? And I'm going to say no to that, especially if you're in an upside down situation, meaning that you owe more than the car will ever be worth. And what you owe seems to increase more with compounded interest. So how much car can you afford? There's no precise formula. The guidelines and questions that are available, you can ask to get the help that you might need to understand just how much you can afford. Start with your spending and saving plan. That means you have to have one to start. If you haven't started one yet, do that and then start working toward a car, unless you just absolutely have to have one. But I will tell you to be very wary. Be very careful that when you're going, especially if you're purchasing even a used car from a dealership, you want to be very careful in how they deem what you're able to pay versus what you have available to pay. Because you may start out with, I can pay $250 a month and end up with almost a $500 car payment. And you all who may be familiar with me can tell that usually when I start laughing like that, it's something that hits home. And that has been a situation in my life where I literally negotiated, okay, in my mind, before I went in, here's how much I could pay. And it turned out to be almost twice that amount when the whole situation was done. But because I was purchasing a car out of an emotional sense of urgency and a great necessity, I ended up upside down in the deal before it even got started. So remember to include the cost for your insurance, your maintenance and repairs, your gas and other fuel, as well as title and registration fees. You can't really waive any of those. And if you can't purchase or don't have insurance, you won't even be allowed to purchase the car, or you shouldn't be, because insurance covers not just you, but if you're paying the car over time, monthly installments, that insurance covers the dealer as well. And so they want to make sure that they're able to recoup their losses, whether it is through you being insured or them being able to have you pay for the car outright. Tips for getting a car loan: review your credit reports in advance at annualcreditreport.com. And again, if you weren't in the last sessions, or if you were, just a reminder, this is the official site that allows you to receive your credit reports at no cost to you. That's the annualcreditreport.com. And during the time of the pandemic, or I'll say pre-pandemic, this was allowed, as it said, annually at no cost to you. But now during the pandemic, they have actually opened it up where you can check your credit report weekly, all three, with Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax at no cost to you. And this is because, of course, with everything being as uncertain as it is, the one certain thing is the people who know how to duplicate your information, to hack your records, to steal your identity are doing it in exponential numbers these days. So being able to access your credit report is invaluable to you, and it's a means and a method for you to protect yourself and your loved ones, to ensure that no one is using your information fraudulently to buy houses or cars or obtain any type of income or assets in your name. You can get pre-approved for a loan. You can always and should always shop around for any cars. Keep good records of any loan quotes that you receive so that you can make the most informed choice, and then leave your car dealership. Leave a car at your dealership until the loan is final. Don't drive off the lot, because once you take possession of it, the very last quote that you were given and the very last dollars that you all discuss will be what you lock yourself into. So again, Section 3's reminder is a car can be a productive asset when it helps you to get other assets. Plan ahead to get a car that you can afford with as little debt as possible. Even that productive asset, again, we talked about gig economy, and now you're seeing DoorDash and all of the different food deliveries services. There's medical transport if you're into, if you're not weary about having strangers in your car, as well as Uber and Lyft and other assets or other gigs such as that. The last section we're going to talk about is training and education as an asset. Your takeaway here is training and education can be productive assets when they give you a strong chance of securing a better career or a higher paying job. Plan ahead to pay for them with as little debt as possible. Be sure that you only get student loans when and if necessary, and only borrow the amount that you need. And I'm sure they're going to say that, but that always comes to mind for me. Training and education can be productive assets. It can help to lead to higher wages. It can be an important part of asset building strategies and a smart investment toward meeting your goals. Anytime you can invest in yourself, you really want to consider doing that, because you are the most valuable asset that you can present to any employer. And with more understanding of how to fulfill the roles of your position, as well as how you can help them to meet their bottom line, is always the smart investment. So consider doing that. Many paths to higher pay and to great careers. Types of educational experiences and institutions. There's always on-the-job training, apprenticeships, vocational and career and technical schools, community colleges. There are four-year colleges. There's the military. There's Job Corps, AmeriCorps, and Peace Corps. And all of these are different ways of getting education or experience. And then institutions that also offer the training in these types of situations. So when you're pursuing your education and training, you may need to invest your own resources, such as time and money. You may need student loans, but consider those very, very carefully. And then opportunity costs. Any time spent in school may be time not spent earning money. Many students, again, have leaned more toward the gig economy or even self-employment or entrepreneurship. So before you consider investing more time and energy in furthering education, consider how you'll be able to maintain your household budget while you're improving your skill set. So training or education is not always a smart investment. If you're one who kind of daydreams a lot and you're missing the entire lecture, or you've got more responsibility than you have time, it may not be the best or smart investment for you. So in that instance, rather than going through the 2 or the 4-year college or things to that nature, consider even some certifications instead. So it depends on the school, the training program, a record of your job placement, their record of job placement, the cost, and any related items. You want to consider that to determine if it's a smart investment. It also This doesn't mean that you shouldn't pursue a training or education. And as I said, maybe even in the field where you are, or a designated or specific area of your current job, if there's any certification that can be gained, that is often a shorter time frame and can be done in conjunction with the actual career that you're in. It may just, take a little bit of adjusting how you spend your spare time and what you're doing on the weekends or evenings that can help promote you and propel you into receiving that certification. So always make an informed choice as to which is the better for you. There are ways to pay for education. You can ask for help from friends and family. And if you have friends and family who are able to help, ask if they're adopting. I promise I cook and clean well, and I will pay my way through, but I want some further education. So if you know someone who's helping, consider me as well. Just kidding. Save money now, or use Save Money. Work while attending school, apply for scholarships and grants, ask for help from your employer, borrow money using student loans, or any combination of the above. I'm going to check the chat. Me too. Okay, Corey, I hear you. All right. Get out of the way. All right. So our next one is scholarships and grants. Scholarships, most of those are merit-based. They're awarded to students with certain qualities, such as academic or athletic ability, and they are usually very competitive. To say that there may be a $10,000 scholarship available, open to an age group of 35 to 60, African-American male or female, in this particular, and they'll have a specific job or job title. So that's specific, but it puts each person interested in a very competitive spot, and they're only going to award one $10,000 scholarship. So you really have to make sure that you're crossing every T, dotting every I, checking every box, and providing the information. And if there is an essay portion of that scholarship application, make sure that as they're reading it, they can hear the violins, they can smell the flowers, they can smell the perfume, and they can see and visualize what it is that you're trying to convey to them that would make you the prime candidate for that scholarship. Grants, most are on a need-based award. So they're usually awarded based on your financial situation. They too may be competitive because, as quiet as it's kept or as well as it's known, there are quite a few who are in a financial situation that would make them eligible for a grant. And so if you're not in that situation, make sure you read all of what's required prior to applying, because of course, any time spent reviewing applications for those who did not fully qualify kind of takes away from the time needed by the people who do qualify and have such a great need. Saving money for training or education, there are the 529 plans. They help save money for future education costs, and the rules vary for each by state. ABLE accounts, those are the 529A plans, and those are for individuals of any age with significant disabilities or different abilities that began before their 26th birthday. So a child born with spinal bifida, someone at age 13 diagnosed with MS, those individuals, and they can use the funds for education. So if you know of anyone who falls in that category or may be utilizing that and you have questions, surely those questions are you can get answers to those questions by simply speaking with the government agencies who oversee the ABLE accounts. There are two types of student loans. Two kinds are federal and private. You don't have to borrow the maximum amount offered to you. And I think I alluded to that earlier. You want to make sure you only borrow what you need because it is a loan. And no matter what amount you borrow, a loan does mean you must pay it back. So your student loan debt needs to be less than the starting annual salary. That is, it doesn't always work out that way. Oftentimes we may take a little bit longer to obtain that final step in our in our furthering education pursuit. And when that happens, you end up having much more student loan debt than you're able to acquire to cover with your starting annual salary. So do consider carefully what you borrow if you choose to use the student loan process. The federal student loans are offered by, of course, the federal government. They usually have lower interest rates and offer better repayment terms, benefits, and options than any private student loans. Generally, your repayment starts after the student leaves school. I believe they used to give like 6 months before you would have to start paying it back. It's been a while, so I'm not as versed anymore as I used to be on this. Free application for student federal loan, or FAFSA. You complete the FAFSA to be considered for federal loans, work study, and grants. And the website is www.fafsa.gov, or you can use the FAFSA mobile app. Check the deadlines and apply early. Many states have, especially to receive FAFSA funds for state or from your state, they have to be, the application date has to be, you have to complete the application by a specific date. So I'm originally from Indiana, and I remember having to complete the FAFSA by March 1st in order to receive any benefits by the start of the school year, which at that time was September. So you just want to make sure that you're familiar with your deadlines and that you apply early. Carefully review your student aid report, because once you sign that, you're agreeing to everything that's listed. So if it's a misspelling of your name, if you've transposed any digits in your social, or accidentally put the wrong year for your date of birth, it will delay, if not cause a denial for assistance through the federal student loan program, because you signed it and it was not correct. So respond immediately to any legitimate request for information. Now it's time to pay back the student loan. It's important that you pay them back on time. Your federal student loans are not automatically discharged by bankruptcy. Non-payment can possibly result in referral to a debt collection agency. A drop in your credit score can even cause you to have a garnishment or wages withheld to pay back what you owe. Before getting a student loan, understand what the terms are and the options that you have for repayment. If any situation occurs, it doesn't matter if it's a student loan or a credit card debt, or even trouble paying your cell phone or appliance debt, you want to contact your debtors. You want to contact the student loan servicer so that if need be, you can restructure your payments and make them a little bit more affordable. And to do that, there's more information available, including any options for repayment, by visiting www.studentaid.gov. We're at the end of the presentation, and for section 4, your key takeaway is training and education can be productive assets when they give you a strong chance of securing a better career or higher paying job. Plan ahead to pay for them with as little debt as possible. So again, we are at the end of the presentation. So now you can take action. Considering all of that information that we just went through in the 4 sections, ask yourself, what will I do with the information I just received? How will I do just what I plan to do? And then who will I share these plans with, if anyone? Family, friends, employers, co-workers, someone, even a buddy, like I mentioned earlier, buddy up, talk with someone, have an accountability partner to keep you on track. If you need that, sometimes we just need someone to push us a little bit further. Remember, you said you wanted to do this or that. Did you change your mind? I see you're slowing up. Just different questions that you can ask one another, or even ask yourself if your inner voice is stronger than the one that's telling you, let's do opposite. So if you share the plans, who will you share them with? And you'll see at the end of each of the 5 sessions that we have scheduled, I'll ask you to go into the chat now and do an evaluation of today's session. For the instructor, would you rate my performance or presentation style as excellent, being 5, or poor, being 1, or any number in between? Was the training engaging or interesting? I know that there was just, me talking, and I really don't like being a talking head, but on this one screen, I couldn't see how many people may or may not have had questions or comments. So I'll do better next week. Do you plan to apply what we discussed to your financial life? Or is this something that you've already known and have put into practice for quite a few years? What was the most useful part of the training? What was the least useful part of the training? And would you recommend this training to others? I needed to have changed that number before posting it, but there are actually 4 additional topics that we will discuss in as many weeks. And I really look forward to seeing you all and to providing more, even more valuable information than what we provided today. And I believe next week's topic is managing money in tough times. So if this is something that you're good at, again, as I said earlier, maybe it's a refresher for you. Maybe you know someone who is struggling at this time, get them to come on board, and we'll share more information with them. And I look forward to seeing you all on next week. But I'm going to give you all a moment. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hey, okay, so we're back here, and I'm going to see, Corinne, if we have time for me to be able to